Maihara, the main guy, is super shy and dreads school. On his first day, when the teacher asks everyone to introduce themselves, Maihara's luck runs out fast. He's picked first. Asked about his favorite weekend activity, he mentions chilling with video games and pizza while his parents are at work. The teacher, a bit shocked, probes for more, but Maihara, whose social energy is draining fast, doesn't add much except for his love for unusual movies about bees and sharks. As the introductions continue, Amami Yu takes the stage, bright and bubbly, the opposite of Maihara. She talks about her previous all-girls school and her friend Asanagi Umi, nudging her to introduce herself next. Asanagi stands up, shy but sweet, and the class soon labels Amami as the cutest and Asanagi as the second cutest, though personally, I'd bet on Asanagi. Months later, Maihara overhears Amami inviting Asanagi to hang out. Asanagi, however, prefers to watch a movie she's been eyeing, alone. Maihara, intrigued because he thinks it might be a shark movie like the ones he loves, eavesdrops a bit more but dismisses the idea that a girl like Asanagi could share his movie tastes. On one such Friday, with pizza in hand and headed home for a movie night alone, Maihara bumps into Asanagi at a video rental. Their hands touch accidentally while reaching for the same shark movie. Asanagi laughs it off, suggesting the movie should have featured piranhas instead, surprising Maihara with her knowledge of his favorite niche genre. The conversation turns deeper when Asanagi reveals she's actually been wanting to talk to Maihara, not just about movies but more. She hands him a card introducing herself and her interests, which align closely with his. Shocked and blushing, Maihara is asked by Asanagi if he'd like to be her friend. A week later, as Maihara prepares coffee for his mom in a rush to work, she inquires if he's made any friends. Despite feeling isolated, Maihara assures her he's okay being alone, but internally, he's hopeful about his new friendship with Asanagi, sparked by shared interests and an unexpected meeting at a video store. Maihara agreed to Asanagi's friendship, but with one condition: it must remain a secret. He shared his concerns about being unfairly judged by their classmates, fearing they might ridicule Asanagi for associating with someone they considered odd. Despite his self-deprecating view, he's just a quiet guy who happens to love action-packed shark movies, a perfectly normal hobby. With a warm smile, Asanagi accepted the terms of their undercover friendship. They exchanged phone numbers, and from that week onward, Asanagi began visiting Maihara every Friday. Their meetings were wholesome and fun, not the mischievous kind some might imagine. On one such Friday, Asanagi arrived bearing gifts of soda and pizza, the latter a daring mix called Angel and Demon Garlic Cheese, and another loaded with teriyaki chicken, cheese, mayonnaise, and a triple dose of garlic, a combination so decadent it could send anyone straight to culinary heaven or hell. As they settled in for an evening of video games, Maihara complimented her bold choice in pizza, humorously commenting that he, too, was ready to embrace such a thrilling taste adventure. They clinked their soda bottles in a toast and dove into the gaming session. Asanagi playfully threatened to defeat Maihara this time around, although her track record was less than stellar, having lost all their previous matches. True to form, Asanagi didn't fare any better in the games that evening, but Maihara didn't mind. It wasn't about winning, it was about the shared moments of laughter and friendly competition. As night crept upon them, Asanagi prepared to leave, insisting on helping clean up despite Maihara's protests. He couldn't help but notice her hearty appetite and love for fizzy drinks, wondering if all girls had similar tastes. Caught in his thoughts, Maihara was snapped back to reality when Asanagi called him out for staring. Flustered, he blurted out his surprise at her slim figure despite her dietary habits. Asanagi laughed it off, explaining her active lifestyle and involvement in sports, then playfully poked Maihara, prompting an unexpected giggle from him. Her spirits lifted further. Asanagi began tickling him, leading to a playful scuffle that left Maihara urging her to head home. As they said their goodbyes, Asanagi thanked Maihara for the fun evening, admitting she was pleasantly surprised by his invitation. Maihara, still new to friendships, confessed his uncertainty about social norms among friends. Understanding his concerns, Asanagi reassured him with a smile and a wave as she departed. Back at school, the secret of their friendship weighed on Maihara. as he caught Asanagi's glance during lunch. He quickly looked away, his face flush with embarrassment. Later, he texted her about the narrow escape from their classmates discovering their secret. As he pondered their situation, Maihara overheard a senior planning to confess to a girl. Curious, he peeked out to see what was happening, only to be spotted by Amami and her friend. Amami recognized him immediately, casually mentioning his name as if he was well known among their peers. To his shock, the girl receiving the confession was none other than Asanagi. Maihara's nerves were tingling as he overheard Asanagi gently declining the senior's advances. She was polite yet firm, expressing no interest in dating. As she walked away, Amami and her friend commented disparagingly on the rejected suitor, noting Asanagi's popularity and her frequent encounters with admirers. This had been her 5th confession in just 1 year. After the incident, Amami turned to Maihara, asking him to keep the episode confidential, concerned that Asanagi would be upset if she knew they had witnessed the confession. Seizing the moment, Amami exchanged phone numbers with Maihara, unknowingly adding him to her contacts, a move that left Maihara bewildered by his unexpected social success. With another Friday approaching, Asanagi reached out to Maihara, suggesting they spend the upcoming Friday together, exploring her favorite spots. Caught off guard and grappling with his introverted nature, which made him liken grass and sunlight to kryptonite, Maihara hesitantly agreed. However, feeling the need to clear the air, Maihara confessed to Asanagi that he had accidentally observed her latest romantic rejection. Surprisingly, Asanagi was unfazed, dismissing the incident as trivial. Their conversation shifted to her numerous confessions, prompting a playful inquiry from Asanagi about whether Maihara felt jealous. Maihara, attempting to mask any hint of envy, expressed his belief that popularity must be exhausting, as it seemingly obliged one to continually please others. Asanagi chuckled at his perspective, assuring him that her notoriety was limited to the school's halls, and playfully teased that Maihara was making her sound like a celebrity. She appreciated his straightforward, unassuming nature, affirming that it was one of the qualities she found most endearing about him, though she quickly added "as a friend" to her compliment, delivering a subtle yet crushing blow to any misinterpreted sentiments. Recovering from the setback, Maihara asserted that he too viewed their relationship purely platonically, despite inwardly questioning his own sincerity. They resumed their gaming session, and this time Asanagi, having honed her skills, triumphed decisively, leaving Maihara both impressed and slightly defeated. Their interaction was observed by Amami, who, misinterpreting the situation, speculated whether Asanagi might have a boyfriend, given her recent cheerfulness and preoccupation. She expressed a readiness to assist her friend with whatever was keeping her busy, to which Asanagi responded with reassurance that she could manage on her own. As Maihara awaited Asanagi under the searing sun, his discomfort was palpable. But her arrival, sporting a casual cap, instantly lightened his mood. He expressed concern about being spotted by classmates, to which Asanagi playfully suggested they simply be honest about their friendship. Despite her jest, Maihara couldn't help but blush at the implication. As they planned their day, Maihara recommended a visit to an anime store, a suggestion that lit up Asanagi's eyes the moment they stepped inside. Surrounded by vibrant manga and collectibles, Asanagi urged Maihara to drop the formalities and address her by her first name, Umi, hinting at a deeper level of intimacy, often revered in romantic tales. Maihara, slightly overwhelmed, agreed to just call her Asanagi, causing a brief moment of disappointment in her. Inside the store, Asanagi ventured into the section with intense action manga, expressing her fondness for battle-driven narratives. Maihara, revealing his preference for more romantic, tension-filled stories, joked about the genre's simplicity. Asanagi, engrossed in a manga, reflected on the peaceful, stress-free lives of its characters, echoing a sentiment many readers share. Their next stop was a local burger joint, a risky choice given the possibility of being seen by peers. Asanagi dismissed the concern, confident their casual attire would blend in. Over burgers, she proposed visiting an arcade to capture fun moments in a photo booth, a suggestion Maihara hesitantly accepted. Conversation flowed effortlessly between them, and Asanagi suggested watching the Angel Shark movie together, reinforcing their shared interests. Maihara, touched by her willingness to spend more weekends together, questioned if she was sure about dedicating so much time to him. Asanagi reassured him, valuing the unique connection they shared over their common interests. Their lunch was briefly interrupted by nearby students who speculated about Asanagi's identity and criticized her past rejection of a fellow student. Overhearing this, Asanagi playfully called Maihara darling in a bold move to dispel the gossip. She then offered him a fry in a flirtatious manner, inviting him to reciprocate the gesture. This playful exchange marked a turning point, subtly shifting their dynamic towards something more than just friends. Asanagi burst into laughter as the girls nearby mistakenly thought she wouldn't have a boyfriend, particularly not the supposedly somber Maihara. Her irritation flared when they mocked him, but Maihara reassured her, trying to diffuse her anger by suggesting they ignore the comments. Despite his calm, Asanagi playfully proposed they tackle the situation with a superhero flair, imagining themselves as Batman and Robin on a covert mission. However, Maihara, less inclined toward confrontation, gently declined her adventurous idea. At the arcade, their luck turned golden with Asanagi winning a trove of tokens. Her excitement was contagious, and she eagerly darted from one game to the next, her usual serene demeanor replaced by the bubbling energy of a child in a candy store. Maihara watched, amused and heartened by this new side of Asanagi, feeling grateful for the friendship that had bloomed unexpectedly between them. Their arcade adventures led them to a baseball game where Asanagi showcased surprising prowess, challenging Maihara to match her skills. He was skeptical, jokingly likening his chances of hitting a home run to his slim odds of ever resisting his anime crushes. Despite his self-doubt inspired by a surge of motivation and the lyrics of his favorite song echoing in his mind, Maihara took a determined stand. With a triumphant swing, he finally connected with the ball, a small victory that felt monumental. Exhausted but fulfilled, Asanagi suggested they wrap up their day. Maihara agreed, silently contemplating how he had envisioned a lonely high school experience, which Asanagi had brightly transformed. Just as he was basking in these thoughts, Amami unexpectedly appeared, startling him with the timing of her greeting. Panic set in as he realized the potential awkwardness if Asanagi returned from the restroom at that moment. In the restroom, Asanagi was freshening up when her phone rang. Maihara's voice, overlaid with the distant chatter of Amami and her friends, filled her with sudden concern. Outside, Amami innocently inquired if Maihara was with a friend, pleased at the thought of him socializing. She offered him an open invitation to reach out whenever he felt isolated, a kindness that only heightened Maihara's anxiety. Interrupted by Nita's remark about possibly imposing on Maihara, Amami defended their presence, emphasizing inclusion. Yet Maihara, feeling a pull toward the private world he and Asanagi shared, politely declined joining the larger group. He stressed that his day was dedicated to spending time just with Asanagi, gently extricating himself from the gathering. Asanagi, peeking around a corner, caught his eye as he walked away. Reuniting, she shared how she once enjoyed being a standout figure, known for her intellect and charm. Yet, she confessed that the pressures of constant attention made her uncomfortable, leading her to cherish the simpler, quieter moments away from the crowd. This candid revelation drew them closer, solidifying the bond of their unique, blossoming friendship. On the train ride, Asanagi got a concerned text from Amami, wondering how to make amends since she felt she might have upset Maihara. Despite the awkwardness, Asanagi reassured Maihara that it was all right and praised Amami for her kind nature. She then admitted she had never had male friends before, which is why she was always prepared with her introduction card, hoping for the right moment to make a friend. She playfully plucked something from Maihara's hair and suggested he take a nap, promising to wake him when needed, affectionately calling him Maki, his first name. Come Monday, Maihara was anxious, not just because of the typical Monday blues, but because he dreaded facing Amami. He feared judgment from his peers for having declined her invitation. As he entered school, Amami was already there, waiting to apologize for possibly being too forward the previous Friday. She self-criticized as insensitive, a trait Asanagi often scolded her for. Just then, Asanagi joined them, apologizing on Amami's behalf and mildly reprimanding her for the abrupt approach. In class, Maihara felt he owed Amami an apology instead. Amami, relieved by the reconciliation, hugged Asanagi, happy they were all on good terms again. She mentioned she had considered calling him over the weekend to apologize, but decided a face-to-face apology was more sincere. Asanagi was taken aback upon learning Amami had Maihara's number, her surprise growing when the teacher walked in, interrupting their conversation. The curious classmates bombarded Asanagi with questions about how Maihara and Amami had grown close, questions she couldn't answer. As the school day progressed, both Amami and Maihara were swamped with inquiries from friends and classmates alike, each eager to understand their sudden closeness. At lunch, Amami tried to find a quiet moment to speak with Maihara, but they were constantly interrupted. After school, the attention didn't subside, with Maihara feeling like a celebrity with too much unwanted attention. Just when he thought he couldn't take it anymore, Amami seized the moment, grabbed both his and Asanagi's hands, and whisked them away to escape the prying eyes of their peers. They jumped on a bus, not knowing where it would take them, just happy to be away from the commotion. Amid the excitement, Amami laughed, thrilled at their little adventure. Asanagi inquired about their destination, only to realize they were unintentionally headed towards Maihara's house. They disembarked and ended up at his place, a twist that amused Asanagi and left Maihara bewildered by how his quiet life had suddenly turned into a social whirlwind. When Amami and Asanagi saw the adorable cookie box Maihara had prepared, their eyes lit up, especially when they discovered it was filled with actual cookies. After Maihara brewed some coffee for them, Amami complimented his adeptness with household tasks, playfully suggesting it might indicate his skill in more delicate matters, perhaps even kissing. They settled down for a chat, and Asanagi curiously inquired how Maihara and Amami ended up exchanging phone numbers. Maihara nervously avoided mentioning that it happened during a moment when they were covertly observing her. Asanagi speculated if perhaps they had been childhood friends, but Amami revealed the truth. They had witnessed her being confessed to and exchanged numbers during that tense moment, planning to intervene if the situation escalated. Amami admitted she kept this secret because she feared Asanagi's reaction to their somewhat overprotective behavior. Asanagi playfully flicked Amami's forehead as a light reprimand, then gave Maihara a flick that jokingly sent him reeling. She declared both forgiven, and Amami apologized to Maihara for dragging him into their scheme and commended him for declining her invite at the arcade, respecting his dedication to his friend. Amami expressed admiration for Maihara's loyalty, suggesting he must hold his friend in high regard. Blushing, Maihara awkwardly agreed, and Amami teased him for his endearing, shy demeanor, likening him to a hamster. Asanagi then steered the conversation back, asking Amami about the matter she wanted to discuss with Maihara. Standing, Amami took a moment before earnestly asking if Maihara would be her friend as well, wondering at how he had managed to charm them by simply being himself and sharing his unique interests like Kung Fu shark movies, prompting her to consider diving into those films too.